I'm Donnie Hall with the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. On this edition of our Command Post video series, I have Chief Ryan Cole with us. Chief Cole is one of our past presidents. During our 2020 Midwinter Conference, under Chief Cole's leadership, we brought together some senior leaders of the fire service in North Carolina to talk about something that's very significant and important to the fire service, and that's cancer. Cancer, we are learning more and more about its impacts. Our association felt that it would be very important to get a group of people to talk together about what we need to do as a fire service from many different angles and how we could better protect our firefighters moving forward from the dangers and the risk of cancer. Chief Cole, thank you for taking some time to spend with us today to talk about the research that you've done through the surveys, some of the committee work from that focus group, and what our future direction is. I'll be the first to admit, coming out of Midwinter, I attended this focus group, and after Midwinter conference was over, I was really excited about the momentum we had with this work. But something else got in the way of that, and we all had to deal with a pandemic and COVID-19 that kind of took some of the steam out of our sail, but that's okay. We can definitely take this opportunity to refocus everyone and kind of give them some impacts or information as to what we're doing and will be doing moving forward. Chief Cole, tell us a little bit about where we are with the information that we've gathered.
So thank you, Donnie, for having me. And it started off as we did a health and wellness survey. And so we collected a lot of information on health and wellness, and we wanted to gather the information about cancer, but in order to do that, we needed to make sure that we were kind of going at it from a holistic approach and not just focusing on just cancer, because we know that cancer is an issue that's out there, but we needed to look at the whole health of the fire service as we moved forward so that it gave us a little bit of a baseline. Through that, we had about 13% of the fire departments in North Carolina participate. So that's about 170 out of the 1,200 plus fire departments participated. And we were able to get some very good information and some surprising information because it kind of told us a little bit of a story, but it still does not paint the full picture of where we're at. And we still don't know that. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping that with the Cancer Registry Act and NIOSH working through that and getting that to a point of having it, which I'm sure is going to be pushed back even further now. Yep. With the great gifts, we have so many gifts that the pandemic has given us, and that's just another one. But knowing what's out there and how many firefighters have got cancer, but not just how many firefighters have cancer now, but how many have retired that we don't even know about that has had cancer. Sure. And so for us to say, and I think that's one of the biggest fallacies that we have when we're talking about some of the things that's affecting the fire service is, what is the real number? We can say that firefighters are 2 times more likely to get cancer than the average person. But can we prove that in the state of North Carolina? We can say that that firefighters are more likely to die of cancer. Can we prove that in the state of North Carolina? The only way that we're going to be able to prove that is to have that information. And so as we went through all of the stuff, we broke it down into 3 areas. One is education, the second is research, and the third is legislation. So number one, we need to educate firefighters how to prevent getting cancer and the best practices that's out there. The second thing is research. We need to do a lot more research in identifying what is really out there and how we do educate, how we do change those behaviors, right, but also what is the problem and identifying the true problem. For example, what is the most prevalent cancer? According to the survey, the most prevalent cancer is prostate cancer. Well, prostate cancer had the highest number with retired and active firefighters, But if you look at the population of firefighters in the state of North Carolina, most of those are males, and prostate cancer is the highest with males. So what is the correlation with cancer, and what's the percentage in the firefighter population versus the percentage in the normal population?
Right.
That's some of the things that we need to do more research on. We also need to do more research, and NC State University is doing a phenomenal job looking at turnout gear and some of the different things there. They're willing to do more research with us, and we want to partner with them to get some more information. They can go in and show whether or not gear has actually been cleaned with some of the different lighting and their labs that they have. And I think we have an opportunity in North Carolina to utilize NC State University and the research that's going on there to be able to get some stuff. There's also a conference that had gotten started by a university in Florida, and they're doing a lot of research as well. And I think that we can gather more information from that. And some of the people from NC State's going there. They're doing research in Washington. All of this research is going on, but we need to compose it to factual what is there. And so I think that's the research piece, is not only finding the information, but verifying it, because there's a lot of information that's out there that might not be accurate. For example, saunas. And we started off with this, and this might seem familiar during the pandemic. We started off saying this is what's the most important thing to do to prevent this. Now it's not.
It changes.
And we've kind of dealt with that with the cancer. Okay, you need to take a hot shower right after a fire. No, you need to take a cold shower after a fire. You need to use what are the best practices. We're not going to know that until we put people down really drilling this out, and we might still not know it.
Yeah, and those are great examples about how the research is evolving and what the best practices are. It kind of leads me to a question that I have. What, with the research, and I know from filling out the survey for our department, there were some interesting things put in there about what certain departments are doing. What was one or two of the things that really stood out to you? And I know you brought your paperwork here, because this is a ton of information. I don't expect you to remember it from memory, but what are a couple of those things that really stand out to you that fire departments across the state submitted in their survey that they were doing to help prevent some of the spread or the exposure to some of the carcinogens?
So one of the things that I seen that I thought was interesting and started looking into a little bit more was they had one of the departments was using charcoal soap to be able to so that firefighters could wash after a fire using charcoal soap. One of the other things that and this kind of created a discussion a little bit more. People started talking about, we had a question in there about a clean cab concept. Yeah. And there was a whole lot of people saying, and I was very enlightened about how many people were saying they were looking into the clean cab concept. And I think where people misconstrue that sometimes is the difference between clean cab and a sterile cab. So a sterile cab, you don't have any gear, you don't have any air packs, you have nothing in the front of the vehicle. And some departments are going to that, to where that when you get on the scene, you get dressed. Right. There's nothing in the cab of the truck. Then there's others that are going and putting, they're just not putting any dirty gear back in the truck. The air packs after a fire, their turnout gear gets bagged, everything gets put in a different vehicle or a different, somewhere else on the truck and taken back to the station. So there's nothing dirty going in the station. We looked into cleaning the truck. Yeah. $1,500 to have a cleaning company come in and clean the truck. Wow. The next day, and we said, okay, if there's a fire, the next day it's dirty again. That's right. But if you keep all the stuff out of the truck after a fire, you don't have to worry about paying $1,500 every time you have a fire to clean the truck. So those are good examples. And what I'm hearing is that we're really looking at a three-prong approach to this, and it's legislation, education, and research. So moving forward, what is our next step with this? Where are we going next? I think the biggest thing and what our plans were was to have everybody meet in May again. the same group and start issuing out people creating subgroups. And I think that's going to be the key, is us having subgroups to work on some of this stuff. And I hope once we get through the pandemic and everything moves forward, we can get back to whatever the normal is, and allow people. This will allow people to focus on those areas, and we can send people out to gather and bring back, and then compile that together. Because one of the things that we need to have is a repository of information.
That's right.
But we need factual information. We need something to where it can be trusted information.
Yeah, and I think that's phenomenal and direct, and obviously the right direction for us. So to get a copy of the research that we've done through the survey, they can find that online on our website. So to our members, please take the opportunity to go to our website, pull the report. There is a lot of useful information. Our next steps moving forward is we're going to dig a little deeper into these 3 areas. We're going to be working with some of the folks that were on the original group, but also if there's other folks in the fire service that's interested in serving in these areas, please reach out to us. You can contact us through the website. You can send an email to our executive director. This is something that needs a lot of attention and a lot of help. And we need our members to step up and help us out through this process to continue to drive this forward. Chief Cole, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And thank you for all the work and effort that you put into the fire service in North Carolina.
Thank you, Chief Hall.
Thank you.